Offers don't combine. Expires month end.
KiaofCleveland.com.
Feeling like your home needs a refresh? Visit the showroom at Wholesale Supply. From kitchen and bath to beautiful lighting and faucets, we have what you need to transform your space. Start your project today at wholesalesupply.us to find a location near you.
Hardee's Original Bag packs 2 full-size favorites, plus fries and a drink starting at $5.99. Pair any 2 items. Choose from a charbroiled double cheeseburger, hot ham and cheese, or hand-breaded chicken tender wrap. Or choose 2 double cheeseburgers for just $1 more. A great big bag of original goodness starting at just $5.99. Only at Hardee's. Download the Hardee's app and join My Rewards for special offers. These items only. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Hey guys, this is Dan Good from Crown. Just reminding you that Crown Ram is Cleveland and Bradley County's Ram headquarters.
Hey, Andy Morris here. Join me along with my co-host on The Drive, presented by Hardees, weekdays at 5 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Cleveland and Bradley County's local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Welcome to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. I hope everyone out there is having a great Friday afternoon, and we are going to have a different show today. Andy is here, but it's not the Andy that you're familiar with. Our Andy is actually doing a remote on Mix right now from the Jetport, but we've got 2 gentlemen here that are going to be filling in today. We're excited about these 2 guys. We got Andy Jenkins and Camden Gober, and we're going to let each of these gentlemen tell us a little bit about them before we get into the sports. Andy, I'll let you start.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Really excited about filling in for Andy Morris today. Like you said, I'm Andy Jenkins. I'm actually, during the day, I'm 6th grade principal, dean of students, athletic director at Lake Forest Middle School here in Cleveland. Grew up here, born and raised. True Junior High School, Bradley Central High School, class of 97. Go Bears.
There you go.
So, Cleveland's all I've known. So I'm a native.
Well, man, we're appreciative of you coming in today. By the way, both these guys, last second fill-in, so really appreciate them. All right, Camden, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Camden Gober. I'm a sophomore at the University of Tennessee currently. I am the associate producer at WTK's Rock Solid Sports in Knoxville. 90.3 if you guys ever want to give the show a listen if you're in Knoxville area. I filled in for Andy Morris as well. He hit me up last minute, and I said, absolutely. Take the opportunity any chance I get, and I want to thank you, Jim, again for letting me fill in this evening.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Excited. Man, he's smooth. You can already tell this guy has a future.
I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go ahead and
I'm telling you, same here. No doubt about that. I love to see the young guys getting involved. So yesterday, the show was dominated by the Atlanta Braves. Not in a good, positive light either. So we really missed a lot of stuff that was going on in the world of sports. But yesterday, I don't know. I'm sure both of y'all are aware of the Braves. They blow that 10-4 lead going into the top of the ninth. They lose that game 11-10. So the Braves are currently 7 games under 500. They began the season 0-7, if you remember. And now with all of this debacle that's going on in the last, 2 weeks, they're right where they were after 7 games in the season, 7 games below the 500 mark, and they're going to San Francisco this weekend. And I'm going to say this right now. They've got to win 2 out of 3. If they continue to lose series, they're going to be out of it by the time they host the All. Can you imagine they're hosting the All-Star game in Atlanta, and they're stinking up the joint, guys.
Yeah, not a good look for sure. The Braves didn't start the season off anywhere near where anybody expected them to, obviously, but hey, they kind of got their second win midway in the year. They started, working their way back up the ranks there. And now you look up, you get Ronald Acuna Jr. back, who seemed to play well the first couple of games back, but now they've lost 11 of 14.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch much of the game last night, but, man, I watched the highlights, and that is an all-timer if I've ever seen one. Just not a good look, especially with how the Braves are playing right now. That was kind of a win they desperately needed and just fell short yet again.
Yesterday, when Atlanta lost that game, the Braves had won 766 straight games, went up by 6 or more runs entering the ninth inning. The last time they blew a game like that, 1973 versus the New York Mets.
Wow.
That tells you everything. So, let me ask you something, Andy. Are you a Braves guy?
I am not a Braves guy. I'm actually a Red Sox guy, but I feel like the Braves season this year has paralleled my Red Sox this year as well as last year. Like, your starters do a pretty decent job, keep it close, and then your middle relief comes in and just blows it.
Got to ask you this. Now, I know that you're a Red Sox guy. Chris Sale, you regret that?
The trade?
Yes.
Absolutely not. I feel like if he was still in Boston, he would still be having problems. I don't know what it was, if it was the water he was drinking up there or what, but just couldn't stay healthy. And sometimes it takes a change of environment.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that it didn't work out because I feel like he has all the skills that we needed as in a frontline starter, and it just didn't pan out.
Being a Red Sox fan, and I've never been to Fenway Park. I've never been to Wrigley Field. Have you ever been to Fenway?
I've been to both, yeah.
What's your opinion about Fenway Park?
Love. It's like St. Paul's, cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
Like my first time going into the ballpark, you walk up. We had seats third row behind first base in 2007, summer of 2007, and
the curse was still on at that point, was it not?
No, no,
2006 when they
2004
when they won the World Series. So
yeah.
The curse had already been lifted.
So you walk up to get to the lower level, field level, and then you have to walk down into the bowl.
Gotcha.
And as you're walking up, you start to see the green monster, and the smells, and it's just you have all these modern things in there, but you still have that old feel. And I remember getting misty-eyed.
Oh, I can imagine, man.
Emotional. And my wife is talking. It's our 5-year anniversary, and I'm like, stop.
I gotta take this in.
I need a moment. You gotta enjoy it. And then going to Wrigley in Chicago is the same way. My wife is from Chicago, so go up there and have wonderful seats. Third base line in July. Made the mistake. Didn't listen to the locals. Oh, you better bring a jacket and wear pants. It's going to get listen, it's July. Come on. Get there, and I freeze my tail off, but got to see Barry Bonds, the Giants, against the Cubs. He hit 3 home runs that game.
Oh, my gosh.
It was amazing. But I think probably out of the two, I'm going to go with Fenway. It's just the whole experience around the ballpark.
I'd love it, and I'm going to do that. Now I've been to several collegiate football stadiums that are historic. Been to the Coliseum out in L.A., the Rose Bowl, been to Michigan Stadium, Ohio Stadium. Those are great. I want to go to Notre Dame Stadium, and Andy and I talked about doing this. What about you? You ever been to any historic facilities in your life?
I went down to Death Valley in 2022, and Tennessee played down there.
Okay. Was that a day game?
It was. It was a noon game. It was probably 97 degrees, not a cloud in the sky.
And we won that one.
It was an absolute massacre. So I didn't get the whole fan experience because, to me, it was dead silent all game just because, Tennessee's dominated from the first snap of the game when they recovered the kickoff. But from that point on, it was just dead silent. Looking back at it now, I wish it would have been a night game so I could kind of experience that, because my experience of LSU and Death Valley is a lot different from 99% of college football fans.
Because they play almost all of their games at night unless television dictates, which they did dictate that game. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I will say, growing up, the only game that you could watch around here was TBS, and it was the Braves, or WGN and the Cubs.
Right.
So we watched a lot of Braves growing up, went to a lot of Braves games, and I was actually at, I think it was 91, the pennant race with the Pittsburgh Pirates. It was a late season game, playing the Pirates. Andy Van Slyke hits one to deep center. and Otis Nix and
The catch?
The catch.
Yes.
I was at that game.
That's still one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. He planted, he got his cleats in that padding in the wall, and he elevated. He was a good, 6 feet off the ground because he planted his foot and lifted. That's one of the greatest catches I've ever seen. So you were at that
I was at
Fulton
that
County
one.
Stadium.
I was also at the game in 85 maybe, or 86 when Bob Horner hit 4 home runs.
You were at that. Was that against the Expos?
I don't remember.
Seemed like, and did not. I'm almost sure the Braves, did they lose that game? I think they lost that game.
That either. I just remember him hitting 4 home runs, and I remember that following weekend going to Collector's Choice here in town and buying his rookie card.
That was, of course, that'd have been typical Braves back in the 80s. You know, him hit a bunch of home runs, and they still find a way to lose the game.
Yeah, terrible.
Oh, they were such doormats back then, and I hope that's not the trend they're going in right now. But anyway, all right. So yesterday. We didn't hit on this. I want to get your guys' opinion. And we're going to get into some college football here in a little bit, but I do want to ask you guys, Aaron Rodgers, there's been all this speculation. Is Aaron Rodgers going to retire? Is he going to play? Well, what's going to do? Well, he signs with the Steelers. It's been 80 days since the start of free agency and 70 days since he visited Pittsburgh, but he is a 4-time MVP. What's your thought about Aaron Rodgers? Does he got anything left in the tank?
He's a pariah. He's a diva. I think you bring him in, he destroys your locker room culture. To be honest with you, he's a nutcase.
He is a nutcase. There's no doubt about it. I'm just wondering if he's still got anything left in the tank.
I mean, he's going to give you consistency, but is it worth what you're going to have to give up in the long run with your team, with the culture?
What do you think, Camden?
Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. I don't think he has it anymore. He probably should have retired a couple years back. I mean, he just led the Jets to a 4-12 record in the regular season. That's nothing to show for. I think it might draw in some Pittsburgh fans back just because you're signing a big-name quarterback, a 4-time MVP, like you just mentioned, in Aaron Rodgers. But my thing is, which I know you're about to hit on, I think the steal of the NFL draft, this last NFL draft, was Will Howard from Ohio State.
Yeah, they got him in the 6th round.
I am very, very high on Will Howard, and I think he has a legit chance to, make his name for himself in Pittsburgh. In the long run, I think having a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers is going to really hurt him in the long run.
Well, but I wonder if Will Howard will absorb some stuff from Aaron Rodgers. Of course, now Aaron Rodgers is notorious for I'm not here to coach these guys, but a rookie could learn some stuff just by watching and observing how he does things. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think Aaron Rodgers' best years are way behind him. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he's capable of doing, even with Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh, listen, they got some weapons now. They did go out and they've got some. DK Metcalf is now there, and so we'll see how it all plays out. But that was interesting. And I really and truly thought that the Steelers, if they were going to get someone, I think they were going to get Kirk Cousins, because he's still out there too.
I'm sure that Atlanta would unload him.
Well, yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt for sure. Okay, now another thing that's going on, and I think this news may come down tonight, maybe during the College World Series between Texas and Texas Tech, but the sign cheating scandal with Connor Stallions at Michigan, supposedly that news is supposed to drop sometime today or early tomorrow. I'm curious of what the NCAA is going to do there. Listen, there's no doubt in my mind they were guilty of sin. Now, when they got sniffed about all that stuff, now they did, suspend Harbaugh for a few games and stuff like that during that Michigan run. But I wonder, what do you think the NCAA, or what do you think the NCAA should do to Michigan?
I mean, I think personally they have to make a statement. You can't continue to let stuff like this go on and on, regardless of what the program is, regardless of who the coach is. To me, they've been so inconsistent in the past in terms of sanctions or the discipline that's going to come out of this. They need to really make a firm statement to deter that kind of action in the future, I feel like.
What do you think?
It's such a bizarre situation. I think the whole thing is kind of, at this point, that's 2 years ago, so I feel like they've waited way too long to crack down on a punishment. But Michigan is what they're doing is really weird. Like the self punishment, the Sharon Moore saying like, "Oh, I'll suspend myself weeks 2 and weeks 4."
Yeah.
Like, how does that make any sense?
Look at this schedule. Okay, that's a weak
Yeah.
team. That's a weak team. Yeah, that's when I'll.
So like, yeah, okay, I'll suspend myself week 1 and week 3, but I'll coach week 2 at Oklahoma.
That's ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense, and the NCAA just didn't say anything about it. But yeah, the most peculiar thing about the whole Connor Stallion situation in court is that he showed up today, which that is not what anybody thought. They thought
I
it was
did
just
not know that until you just said.
yeah,
it.
they thought it was just Michigan, the NCAA, kind of behind closed doors, no media, no nothing allowed in there. And Connor Stallions walked out of the courtroom, and all the media was standing out there outside the doors, saw him walk out in a suit. Like, well, this is new information. Like, they didn't even know if he was allowed in the room or if not. But at the end of the day, I think because he was there too, I think it plays into it. I think Connor Stallions is kind of just giving himself up. Like, look, he was a diehard Michigan fan. He hurt the program. Well, he helped the program, first of all, but then he hurt the program, and I think he just wants to not clear his name, but kind of like, hey, this was all on me. This wasn't on the University of Michigan. This is all on me. He doesn't want Michigan to get punished at all. He wants just himself and the NCAA to just get it over with. But at the end of the day, you have to punish Michigan.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know how they're going to do it unless it's like a bowl ban or something. But in today's landscape, I don't know what the NCAA or how much power the NCAA even has over schools like Michigan.
Well, with Jim Harbaugh not being there, that helps them, even though he left.
For sure.
But I do believe they'll have to vacate some games. Now, the big question, would they have to vacate the 2023 National Championship? I don't think the NCAA will do that, although I think it's deserved. But I think the NCAA will not do that. But I do think that they're going to put some significant recruiting restrictions on Michigan over the next couple of years, which that's the best way to hurt a program. When you say
Take the scholarships.
take scholarships away, and we all know that that's the lifeblood. That's the lifeblood of a program.
Absolutely.
You take scholarships away, a significant number. That's the way you hurt a program. We'll see what they do, but I am interested in that a lot. And speaking of Michigan, there's another little news nugget out there that really shows just how old I am. Of course, the controversial Heisman, 1997, Charles Woodson wins it over Peyton
Biggest
Manning.
snub of all time.
The high.
Charles Woodson Jr., his son, was offered a scholarship to Michigan. He's in the 2027 recruiting class. That shows me right there. I said, okay, I'm officially an old guy. Because I cannot believe that Charles Woodson Jr. is old enough to even consider. But apparently he's, they're not going to offer him unless he can play. But I thought that was crazy stuff when I saw that.
That does kind of put things in perspective, doesn't it?
It does. And I know you're probably too young to remember this. That 1997 Heisman Trophy, when Woodson won it over Peyton Manning.
Oh, I know all about it.
That's the most controversial thing that I can remember as far as an individual award.
Have you seen the documentary, the 30 for 30 about it?
Yes.
I love it.
It's a great one. It's
the craziest that I can remember Knoxville being.
Oh, my gosh.
Other than when Lane Kiffin left in the middle of the night and the mattress burnings and all that stuff. But it was insane. Everybody, it was kind of like, let's think about the election. Everybody went to bed thinking that, Trump's won this, and then you wake up the next morning and Biden was elected. I mean, I seriously thought Peyton Manning had it in the bag.
I'll never forget. I was actually at a Christmas party at the Cleveland Country Club, okay? And it was Bank of Cleveland. We were there watching the television, with the sound down, mind you, okay? Because someone had a TV on in one of the back rooms there. When that came over, it's like people come out there, Charles Woodson beat Peyton in the Heisman. And it's like the whole vibe of that Christmas party changed, man. I'm like, oh, my gosh. That's all we talked about the rest of the night. It was the darndest thing. But, man, stuff like that. You always remember where you were when crazy things happen. And I know it's not like 9/11, where I knew exactly where I was when 9/11 happened and there was Space Shuttle when it blew up and everything. But I remember where I was when Peyton Manning was jobbed out of the Heisman Trophy. And that one will always stick with me. And you're right, those documentaries about that.
So good.
Unbelievable good stuff, man. It really was. And I really still believe that the writers or the voters were looking for a reason. But you ever heard it was called Peyton fatigue. People said, because Peyton was getting all this notoriety out of the season and during the season. They're like, well, he can't even beat Florida, all this stuff. And I believe that the writers and the voters that voted on that, I think they had Peyton Manning fatigue. I really believe that.
I would agree with that.
I mean, I think Danny Werfel winning it the year before in '96 at Florida really hurt Peyton's chances. They wanted to, they kind of wanted to give it to somebody different, and Charles Woodson was the exact person they were looking for. Don't get me wrong; he's one of the greatest DBs of all time.
It was the perfect storm.
It was a perfect
He
scenario.
was playing on an undefeated Michigan team, playing for a national championship. Of course, he hadn't played in it yet, but they still were undefeated, and he was a defensive guy. It's like, we're looking for a defensive guy. Oh, my gosh, he plays from an undefeated team. Oh, and he also plays a little special teams, a little wide receiver, too. It was like the perfect storm. And to be honest, to give credit where credit's due, every time Charles Woodson played in a big game, he did something spectacular.
He showed up, absolutely.
He showed up every time in the big game. So, but still, I still believe that it was the time in which is horrendous for Peyton Manning. And everyone kept that Florida loss. It held it against him. And that will always be the case. Let's go ahead and take our first break. Hey, you're listening to ESPN Cleveland, The Drive, and we're going to be back with Andy and Camden after these messages.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Hardees is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time employees. Apply in-store or online at hardees.com today.
Hip or knee pain holding you back? There's a new reason to feel hopeful. Dr. Andrew Carlone is now part of the team at Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics in Cleveland. He brings advanced training in total hip and knee replacement, including minimally invasive techniques that get you back on your feet faster. Let Cleveland's orthopedic experts help you live your best life. Call 423-624-2696 or go to sportmed.com to book your visit now.
Hey guys, this is Dan Good from Crown. Just reminding you that Crown Jeep is Cleveland and Bradley County's Jeep headquarters.
Magnolia Dental Center of Cleveland wants to welcome you to the Magnolia family, a local dental clinic that uses their God-given knowledge and skills to bless our community through dentistry. From checkups and cleanings to dentures and all-on-4 dental implants, they can help you feel healthier and more confident. Conveniently located at 2190 Chambliss Avenue, join the Magnolia family today. Call 423-476-3307 for your free exam and x-rays.
Assured Alarms here in Cleveland is locally owned and operated by Terry Buckner and Wesley Birchfield. They've been in business since 2004 and can design a new security, fire, and camera system specific to your needs. They're not a chain, they're not a franchise. They're your local alarm company. Call Assured Alarms today at 423-478-5222. That's Assured Alarms here in Cleveland, protecting you and your loved ones with Assured Alarms.
Are you losing sleep thinking about how market volatility is affecting your retirement savings? You've worked hard for your money, and Jay and Brittany Hagee will work just as hard to protect and grow it. Our no-cost review begins with us listening, continues with collaboration, and results with a written plan. Begin the conversation by calling Jay and Brittany Hagee and the team at Alon Planning Partners at 423-315-1441, 423-315-1441. Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, and SEC-registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. Hope everyone out there is having a good Friday. Our hosts today are Andy Jenkins and Camden Gobert. I'm merely Jim Gum, just filling in the gaps as these two brains here. They know everything about sports. I'm kind of an idiot today. But, hey, there is something I want to get both y'all's opinions. The other day, Ryan Day, the head coach of Ohio State, came out and he says he's still in favor of the original 16-team college football model. That would be the 4-4-2-2-1-3 model, which is 4 Big Ten, 4 SEC, 2 ACC, 2 Big 12, one group of 5 and 3 at-large, that model. Whereas here lately, the trend has been going towards the 5-11, where you have 5 automatic bids and 11 at-large. What's y'all's opinion of what if the, and I don't think it's a question of if, it's when the playoff expands from 12 to 16, which model do you guys prefer?
Ryan Day would be in favor of that first and foremost. I would like to get that out there. He would totally be for that 4+4.
Mm-hmm.
Totally for that, because he's always going to be possibly the second best team in that conference.
Oh, yeah. Ohio State's never going to be in 5th place.
Yeah.
They're always going to be in top 4, for sure. That's a pretty much a guarantee. But, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I'm very much against, first and foremost, I'm against 16-team playoff. I'm against 12-team playoff. We talked about this off air, but I'm more of an
You're a BCS guy.
I'm a traditionalist guy. If I could go back to 2 teams with BCS, with all the stats and statistics we have today, I think that'd just be the best move. But if you had to go to 16, I don't think the automatic bids, giving 4 teams to the Big Ten and SEC every year, I don't see that working. I definitely think 5-11 team, or 5+11 of the 16 team. Yeah, that model for sure. Just because if you win your conference championship, I think it has to matter, and that's the main thing with me. I love the conference championships. I think they mean something, especially growing up here in the South and SEC country. You know how important it is to win the SEC. You know how hard it is to win the SEC. I think that has to mean something, and the 5-11 model would definitely favor that. Because if you do the other model, I don't think the non-conference matchups to begin the year matter. I don't think the conference championships matter. I think they would have to do away with the conference championship weekend as a whole. And, yeah, like Andy said, of course Ryan Day would want it just because, again, the Ohio State's never going to finish 5th in the conference. But at the same time, the Big Ten and SEC are just capping themselves off if it's 4-4. When there's definitely years the SEC could get 6 teams in.
Yeah. Now, that being said, with that 4-4-2-2-1-3 model, you can still get – the SEC could get 7 in. They could get those 3 at-large.
With the at-large,
they
absolutely.
could. But I'm like you guys. I don't like to – to me, it's like a participation trophy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Earn it. I'm like
That's
you.
exactly what it is.
Championships, you're in. You win the Big Ten, the SEC, ACC, Big 12. You should get in. You should get a slot. After that, let's see how the cookie crumbles, and let's see how the at-large teams are. Because there may be a year the SEC's worthy of 8. There may be a year the SEC's worthy of only 3. And if that's the case, then so be it. But I don't think you should be promised, because then what's the incentive? What's the incentive? If, let's say, here's the thing. Let's say Ohio State and Michigan are both undefeated. They're going to get in. Well, why play your starting quarterback? Let him rest. He might get hurt. Don't matter if you win that game or not. You're getting in no matter what. To me, you should have to win your championship, and then I don't like the fact of promising things. It's like we talked about just a minute ago. It's like the participation trophies we see in youth sports these days. When I was a kid, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, the championship team got the trophy, the second place, third place. They didn't get nothing. Nope. I'm okay with them giving something. But a team that's a losing team or a middle of the road team, they shouldn't be guaranteed squat.
I'm in favor of that 5-11 option. And I also, I agree with what you're saying about the BCS option. I think that the 5-11 option is the closest to the BCS option in terms of, if you at least – you're going to get some recognition for those 11 at large.
Yeah.
At least. So if you don't if you're not one of those 5 that win your conference championship, if your regular season record holds that you've played enough to be in the top 10 or whatever and make one of those 11, I think that's the best option.
Oh, so let me ask you guys this now. A lot of this with these different models is contingent on the SEC staying at 8 conference games or going to 9. What's your opinion of the SEC and the number of conference games they are going to play? Are you in favor of 8 or are you in favor of 9? I'm in favor of 9. personally.
I think it's ridiculous
because
that they're not at
if
9.
you got 16 teams, and my fear, if they stay at 8, is I think Tennessee should play Alabama every year.
Absolutely.
And with this new model that the SEC's got, if they stay at 8, you may see Tennessee and Alabama not playing each other every year. And to me, that's a travesty. That's one of the great rivalries in the South. And I'd hate to see that played once every 4 years instead of every year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now that would ruin college sports as we know it if you're getting rid of rivalries that are annual matchups since World War I or whatnot. But I definitely agree. I don't understand why the SEC's not at 9 games right now. It doesn't really make sense. Of a 16-team conference, you play 9 games, and if you play, here's the model that they've kind of thrown out there, which I love, by the way. If you do 9-game SEC conference and there's 16 teams, you have 3 permanent opponents. One of them could be Alabama. Say the other 2 are Florida and Vanderbilt. You play those 3 every year. Then you have 6 rotating.
Right.
So you have 6 rotating. You'll play home and away. Say you play 4 years in college. You'll play those 3 permanent opponents. You'll play 6 teams home, 6 teams away, or vice versa in your first 2 years. And then your next 2 years, you'll play the other 6. So in your 4 years of college, you would play a home and away game against every team in your conference.
And that's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be.
Absolutely
it should be.
I don't know if y'all know this. And I'll have to preface this by saying that COVID year is the reason this is a fact. Texas A&M entered the SEC in 2012. They have still yet to play a game in Athens, Georgia. They have never played a game in Athens. Now, Georgia has played there. Okay, they have played there. Now, they were supposed to play in Athens during the COVID year.
Well,
but the fact,
I think it's vice versa.
Or is that the way?
Yeah, it's vice versa.
Okay.
Georgia's never gone to College Station.
Okay, but either way, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
When you got that many teams and that few conference games, that's a flaw.
Yeah.
I think the SEC, they're going to be. Listen, I remember when the SEC played 6 conference games and 5 non-conference. When they added Arkansas and South Carolina, they went up to 8. And I remember people say, "Oh, the SEC will never win a national championship again." Well, 1992, first year they won that. They've won plenty of championships with 8 conference games. It doesn't matter. The one thing it will do, playing that 9th conference game, it will probably knock some teams out of getting bowl bids. I'm okay with that. Hey, if Mississippi State doesn't make it to a bowl because they played another conference game instead of a non-conference game, so be it.
Yeah.
And listen, but it's not going to
there's so many bowls nowadays anyway. It's kind of watered down.
And half these bowls, you got guys opting out, and the attendance numbers of these bowl games are horrendous for the most part.
Yeah, problem
they really
is
are.
Everybody still watches them, so they still get the TV money.
They get the eyeballs on TV.
Yeah.
But the attendance in the stadium and the opt outs is what kills me when you watch a bowl game.
Yeah, I hate
and
it.
you're watching some guy play quarterback. I've never even heard of this guy, and I've watched this team play 5 games.
Yeah.
But the star quarterback, well, I don't want to get hurt. I'm gonna prepare for the NFL draft. I'm like, come on.
The 12 team has definitely helped that, I will say.
You know, that's that for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely
the
helped
opt
that.
out. You're not opting out of playoff games.
No.
But you're still getting guys that are opting out of major bowl games. I'm talking about bowl games that are significant and been around and have a long history.
Oh, yeah.
Guys that are opting out, if it's not part of the playoffs, it really is an issue. So I think that would be a travesty if the SEC stays at 8 conference games. I believe that Sankey, and I think he's got enough on his side to go to 9, but we'll see. I think that is supposed to be decided sometime this year because this is the second year of the 16-team league. Every game that was played last year is also going to be played this year. You just flip-flopping the home and away. Come 2026, they've got to start putting these schedules together. And so I know we're almost a year and a half out, but they've got to know this stuff ahead of time. So I believe we're going to have an answer as to whether we're going to go to 9 or stay at 8. I think if they stay at 8, I think nationally the SEC will take a hit. Because
I think
everybody will be on their case.
I think it should, just because every other conference is playing 9, and it hasn't really affected them for the most part. But obviously Ohio State lost 2 games a year ago, but that was more because of the realignment, adding Oregon to the Big Ten, stuff like that. But yeah, they talked about it in Destin, which I guess was 2 weeks ago at the SEC coaches meeting. They talked about it there, but yeah, like you said, they got to get it going here because usually they announce the SEC schedule for
the following season
in the middle of the summer, most of the time July, and they'll televise it. So they definitely gotta figure out something here very soon.
Okay, let me ask you guys this, kind of changing a little bit. There's talk about the NCAA basketball tournament going from what is now 68 to possible 76. What's your thoughts there? Personally, 64 is a perfect number.
Yes.
I don't even like the opening round games they play in Dayton. So I'm assuming you guys
agree.
Against the 76, because here's what it's going to be. It's not going to go to the Southern Conference.
No.
It's going to go to the 8th place team and the 10th place team in these bigger leagues.
Yes.
They're going to gobble up all those extra slots. You know and I know.
If you've seen the bubble last year, it was one of the worst bubbles I think I've ever seen going into an NCAA tournament. The teams that they were debating on putting in, if it was a 72 to 76 team field, would be an LSU team that finished 14th out of 16 in the SEC and they were probably, 7 games under 500?
Right.
Those are the teams we're talking about getting in. Not the Santa Claras of the world on the West Coast. Not the Pepperdines of the world on the West Coast. Not those teams. Not the mid-majors. These 13th, 14th, 15th place teams in these Power 4 conferences. I'm also very against it, obviously. I would like for it to go back to 64. I think
they'll never go backwards.
They will never. Yeah. It's the perfect number. The play-in has done some good. You've seen a bunch of Final Four runs like VCU out of the first 4, UCLA in 21.
Yep.
But for me, I just think expanding is reverting back. It's just making the sport worse.
Let me ask you this, Andy. Mm-hmm. UTC won the NIT this past year.
Yep.
What would you say? And you may have your opinion. I'm just curious what you think. Is it more lucrative or more of a thing for UTC to be the NIT champions, or to have made it as an at-large maybe in the NCAA tournament? What do you think is the more prestigious thing?
I mean, I'm a UTC alumni. Go Mocs. But I think it's more lucrative to win the NIT.
Do you?
Than it is.
Because there's a lot of people that still believe that, hey, I'd rather have gone to the NCAA and got beaten the first round. I'm like, yeah, but they hoisted a trophy there at Butler Fieldhouse.
They're going to hang a banner in the rafters. It means way more to win the NIT. There are some good teams in the NIT.
Oh, yeah.
And to win that's a big statement. And I totally disagree with anybody that says.
The Mocs were the underdogs in just about every game.
Yeah.
Just about every game, they were the underdog. I mean, when they played, was it Dayton, came to UTC Arena? I mean, Dayton was supposed to run them out of the gym. And, boy, the Mocs put it to them. And, then, of course, they go up there to Indiana, and they hoist the trophy. And, Terrell Owens is there. You got all these alums from UTC up there supporting the Mocs.
Yep.
I'm glad that because I feel the same way. I think, to me, it's more prestigious to be the NIT champs than to be a first-round loser in the NCAA tournament.
And, UTC has come a long way in terms of athletics. When I was there in the late 90s, it was they were actually debating whether or not to shut down some programs, particularly like the football program. This was they just Finley Stadium had just came in and they weren't filling the seats, and so I think to be where they're at now as an athletic department is a huge. It's huge for them, and to get the NIT championship, to be able to hoist that banner. What does that do for your recruiting?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little softball and baseball. You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. We'll be back.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Hey Cleveland, are you suffering from fatigue, low sex drive, or just not feeling like yourself? Optimize You is the answer that you have been looking for. Our team is here to listen and help you become the best version of yourself again. So find us online at OptimizeYouCenters.com. That's OptimizeYouCenters.com.
Listen to the Alon Exchange, hosted by financial professionals Jay and Brittany Hagee, owners of Alon Planning Partners. Each week they discuss all things financial and answer your questions about investing, preparing for retirement, paying down debt, and more. The Alon Exchange, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Don't miss the Paul Feinbaum Show, weekday afternoons from 2 until 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Always topical, always entertaining. Paul Feinbaum on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell.
Cleveland Tire Center for over 45 years with the best name in tires: Bridgestone, Firestone, Goodyear, and Michelin. Northley Highway, Cleveland. Cleveland Tire Center, where the name says it all.
When you need a new roof, it's all about trust. Your home is too big an investment and you can't afford to make a mistake. Cleveland Plywood has the products and expertise you're looking for. Contractors have trusted them for over 50 years, and they carry only proven products from reputable suppliers like IKO. IKO Cambridge is one of the heaviest weight asphalt shingles you can buy, and their limited warranties are among the industry's best. Protect the investment you've made in your home. Go with the pros at Cleveland Plywood, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland. Call 472-3357. For a quarter of a century, Mix 1041 has been taking you out to the ball games.
Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
Since 2000, Mix 1041 has been the home of the Atlanta Braves, and we're celebrating by giving away tickets to Atlanta Braves games all summer long. Listen for your chance to call or text to qualify. You can also register at the Mix socials on Facebook and Instagram. Braves 25 is presented by Cleveland Ford. Honest people, honest deals. Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
You're listening to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. I hope everyone out there is having a good Friday, although it's a little nasty out there. So if you're out on the road, slow it down a little bit. Get that oil coming up when the rain starts hitting that surface. So just be a little careful out there. Hey, by the way, for over 100 years, Mayfield Dairy has been delivering farm fresh dairy beloved by Southern families. In 1983, Mayfield introduced its iconic yellow jug. The new opaque jug helps prevent harmful light rays, protecting the flavor and nutrients in milk. Learn more about Mayfield today at mayfielddairy.com. And guys, we've got about 20 minutes left in the show, and a lot of stuff going on this weekend. We got the super regionals going on in college baseball. We're going to talk about that Tennessee-Arkansas series. And then also tonight, by the way, we've got the Texas Tech and the Texas Longhorns are playing for the national championship. Again, weather, permitting. So you got the former Big 12 team, Texas, playing it, still a current Big 12 team in Texas Tech for the national championship. And that game, by the way, will be heard here on ESPN Cleveland at 7:45. So if you're not able to watch it, tune in here on ESPN Cleveland. What's your take about the College World Series Super Regionals? Y'all got anything that I know you're a big Tennessee guy. Well, yep. Listen, Arkansas, they want to beat Tennessee in the worst way. That's a big rivalry. Oh, and listen, the Razorbacks are playing at home. Mm-hmm. You give the Vols a chance?
I'll tell you this right now. I think Arkansas is the best team in college baseball as of right now.
Oh. Really?
I think Arkansas is the best team in baseball. Vanderbilt lost a home series to Louisville, or they lost their home regional to Louisville. Texas lost their home regional to UTSA. Arkansas is sitting there at 3. I know it's not a hot take to say that, but I think Arkansas has the best pitching. I think they have the best, I would say 1 to 6 in their batting order, I think is just as deadly as it comes. And I think Arkansas is by far the best team in baseball right now. But let me tell you, the hottest team in college baseball, I think, is the Tennessee Volunteers. And like you said, Jim, it is a heated rivalry. It's become a heated rivalry with Tony Vitello taking over at Tennessee, who was formerly at Arkansas. So, yeah, very, very much looking forward to that super regional.
Hey, by the way, let me change gears just a minute. The National Weather Service in Morristown, a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Bradley County here and in southwest Polk County in East Tennessee. So until 6:30 Eastern time. So, hey, listen, we're talking about 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So if you're out there, just be aware, pay attention to the weather. Don't be crazy. Don't think you're immune. Listen, it is serious out there. So everyone out there, be ready to go to a safe spot. Now, personally, I have a full basement, so I can go down there. But if you don't, if you go to an interior room or if you're in a mobile home, find another place to be, because I'm telling you, Severe weather is not fun, and I've been involved in some. I've been in some bad hurricanes, bad tornadoes. It is not fun. And anyone out there that's a little older like you, we've all experienced that stuff. It's scary. It really is.
It is. I remember 2011 very well.
I was down in Gunnersville, Alabama, and we had a tornado. I was in a lodge. I was in the right side of the lodge. The left side of the lodge, the entire roof was peeled off. That's because we took a direct hit. Scared me to death. And of course, here that day in Bradley County, we got hammered.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fatalities, if you remember back then. So be careful out there.
I think I went to 4 funerals.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I think there were 11 fatalities in Bradley County. If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong, but I think it was 11 fatalities in Bradley County that day. It was scary.
It was rough.
Yeah, for sure. Now, getting back to the College World Series. So here are the matchups. We obviously know about Tennessee and Arkansas. That is here locally. That is the one that most people are paying attention to. But you got LSU playing West Virginia. Duke playing Murray State. Murray State shocked me when they beat Ole Miss. UCLA, UTSA beating the Texas Longhorns. That was another shocker. Louisville. Now, what's the score right now in the Louisville-Miami game there?
Louisville's up 8-1 heading into the bottom of the 6th.
Bottom of the 6th, so Louisville's putting it to the Hurricanes. Florida State's playing Oregon State. I think that's going to be a real good series. Earlier today, North Carolina just all over Arizona, 18-2, the final there. And then Coastal Carolina, but don't sleep on Coastal Carolina. They did win a national championship a few years back, so they're pretty good. But they're playing in Auburn. So we got some really good super regionals coming up. I've never been to the College World Series, and I really would like to go. That's on my bucket list, along with Wrigley Field and the and Fenway Park. Any of y'all ever been to the College World Series?
I went last year for the championship series between Tennessee and Texas A&M. Unreal, once in a lifetime thing. If you get a chance to go out to Omaha, especially to catch some baseball and College World Series games, I would definitely go. It was memories worth a lifetime. Again, Tennessee ended up winning the national championship in Game 3 in kind of a crazy fashion in the last couple innings. So all that tied together was definitely one of the best sporting events I've ever been to.
Yeah, like I said, that's something I'd love to do. And how do I put this? What's the most famous, if you want to call it that, what's the most famous sporting event you've ever been to?
Well, you're talking about Fenway Park. I'm not proud of this, and I actually didn't get to go, but I kicked myself for this. So we were in Boston during the 2008 championship run for the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
I think it was 2008, 2007 maybe, one of the two. Anyway, they're making a run. They're in the finals against the Lakers. We're there. They're in Boston. And my wife says, hey, we don't have anything planned, this night. What do you think about going to, like, a finals game? You've always wanted to go to a finals game, and your Celtics are playing. Like, they're playing the Lakers. That's an iconic rivalry, right?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Or do you want to go to a second Red Sox game? I saw where we can get some really good pesky pole seats.
Okay.
And so I tossed this around, flipped the quarter, end up going to a second Sox game. Kick myself to this day for not going to the NBA Finals game. But probably my most famous event that I was able to go to would probably be when I think I was a freshman in high school. I had the opportunity to go watch the Birmingham Barons play the Chattanooga Lookouts.
Michael
Jordan played.
Is that right?
Wow.
And it was a 3-game series.
Yep.
We had tickets to the first game. He only played in the first game. He didn't play the other 2 games.
That's
so
hilarious.
I got to watch him. And he did not do very, very well. And I remember thinking, like, man, this guy, he's like my favorite basketball player. He's a god.
Mm-hmm.
Just a mediocre
and he's a mediocre
but he's still better than I ever was in baseball.
Yeah,
I wish I could play like he
but
could.
I feel like he would have never, like, if that was you and I, we would have never saw the field.
No, there's no doubt about that.
We wouldn't have got a minor league contract.
But his last name was his full name was Michael Jordan. Hello,
Right.
We're going to market this dude and fill up the stands and everything.
Right.
Now, my most famous sporting event I've ever been to was Game 2 of the 1990 World Series, Oakland and Cincinnati.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. I mean, Oakland was heavy favorites in that World Series. Heavy favorites.
I
And the
called
Reds-
a 4-game sweep for the Reds
and
that
they
year, by
swept
the way.
them. That was I remember for Game 1. Of course, Eric Davis hit a home run game in the first inning against
Smashed it.
just crushed it. And that gave the Reds momentum, and they used that all the way through, and they dominated. Jose Rio was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Nasty Boys coming in
Rob
for the bullpen.
Dibble and
Yeah, so
Norm
you had
Charlton.
all those guys. Billy Hatcher had a wonderful World Series, but that Game 2, I was there. That's the one where Billy Bates was a pinch runner, and Joe Oliver knocked the ball down the left field line, and he scored, and the Reds won that game in a walk-off fashion. But that's my most famous. What about you? Now you're young, so your opportunity
Yeah.
hasn't been as long as ours. But I'm curious, have you been to any kind of a special sporting event that probably nationally would made the news?
I'll just go with what I just said before. The
LSU
going to the championship series in Omaha last year.
Oh, okay,
was
okay.
Once of a lifetime. I would say that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean that. Like I said, I've talked to multiple people that have been to the College World Series. And we're talking about before the Vols. They make a film. It's just something that's on their list every year. They go to the College World Series every year, and they love it. They said once you've done it once, you'll go back. It doesn't matter if your team's there or not. They said it's just the electricity in the stands and the fun that goes on around there. And yeah, I think that would be a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. So, who do you think? And I know who you want. Who do you think is going to win the College World Series this year? Do you think Tennessee is, or do you think somebody else out there is?
I agree. I agree with what you said just a few minutes ago. Like Arkansas definitely is probably the hottest team right now. And a lot of times I feel like in sports, it's not about who you beat, but it's about how you're playing at that moment, like when you're peaking. And I feel like Arkansas is winning when it matters most. They're peaking at the right time. I feel like the Vols are peaking at the right time. They're playing some great baseball.
I think
too.
this could be an unbelievable series.
I think it could be either one. I could see either one of those two. Really, I could. I feel like whoever wins this wins it all.
Is that right? Okay.
I like that. I like that take. I don't know about you guys, but it's not as many people do as basketball. But I fill out a bracket every year for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I find it really interesting and just see what I get right and whatnot. And I told you off the air, I've gotten most picks right, and I'm proud of that. But at the same time, I picked Texas to win it all. But I was really, really debating. I thought whoever won between Texas and Arkansas on that side of the bracket in Omaha would win it all. Safe to say I chose the wrong team, but I still think Arkansas is the best team in baseball. Dave Van Horn has been at Arkansas for 20-plus years. Arkansas is a blue blood of college baseball.
They are, for sure.
Without a national title.
Yeah,
that is the only thing they're missing, and I think they have all the pieces to do it this year. I think everything's kind of coming together for them to make that national title run, and I think they do get it done this year.
I'll tell you what I'd like to see, if it's not Tennessee. I would love to see Arkansas play Florida State. And the reason is both teams have had a ton of success.
Oh, yeah.
Neither one of them has won a College World Series.
If Florida State takes down Oregon State in the Super Regional, this will be the Seminoles' 25th appearance in Omaha, no national title.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Unreal. The most ever.
Go Hogs if that's the case.
Go Hogs. It's so funny. Andy, he's a Notre Dame guy, but his brother is a Florida State guy. So Andy's got a little love for the Seminoles. So we'll see what happens there. But I would like to see a team that's never won it all. I'd like to see a team win the national championship. If it's not going to be Tennessee, I'd like to see a team that's never won it win it.
I do think it's set up perfectly this year for a first-time champion. You look at North Carolina, made the College World Series 12 times, never won a title. As you saw today, they scored 18 runs, one of the hottest teams in the country. Auburn, I think, is the most underrated team in the country, never won a title. Arkansas never won a title, like I mentioned before. I think of those three, I think one of them will win it, and it's crazy that none of them have won it before. And Florida State, sorry. Forgot to mention them.
Right.
Of those four, I think they all have a legit shot to win it all, and I'm with you. I would like to see a team that's never won it win it, because kind of keep that trend alive. If you've seen, Ole Miss won, Mississippi State won. Both of them didn't have their titles, or both of them never won a title before.
Right.
Then LSU won their 7th, and Tennessee got their first. So you see the parity in the sport. I love it. I think it's great for college baseball, and it just keeps getting more fans involved in college baseball, which I think is phenomenal for the game.
Okay, I just brought up Notre Dame, and Andy and I have discussed this, but I want to get y'all's opinion. There's a lot of talk out there that USC might opt out of the Notre Dame series. If they do that, guys, that's a travesty. And, now, first off, I don't think they will. I think that
I don't either.
I think they'll think it. Surely they won't let this happen. But could you imagine if Notre Dame and USC didn't play every year? That's one of the great national rivalries in this country. And when I see stuff like this,
It's iconic.
when I even hear even mention of it, it absolutely makes my blood boil. What's your thoughts about that?
I think it's probably one of the most iconic series in college football. And to see them drop out, if that's what they choose to do, like you said, would be a travesty. But I don't know. You haven't seen a whole lot out of USC the last 10 years. So, I mean, if you want to stay relevant, you stay in that series.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen other great rivalries go to the wayside. Now, obviously, Texas A&M have renewed it now that Texas is in the SEC, but they did not play not a single time after the Aggies left the Big 12 and came to the SEC. So that series was dormant for a long time. To me, I grew up watching Oklahoma and Nebraska was a must-see rivalry. Now, they've played occasionally here in the last few years, but that series is dead. Penn State, Pittsburgh, that series occasionally is on, but more often than not, it's gone. That's the one thing about all this conference realignment that really bothers me. And I'm a traditionalist as much as you are, although I do like the expanded playoffs. But as far as the teams playing each other, listen, Missouri-Kansas was a great rivalry. Maybe not to us, but they don't play each other anymore. That's my big problem with all this conference realignment. What's your opinion of the conference realignment on both ends?
Oh, I can't stand it. Even thinking about it makes my blood boil. I remember remember where you were. I remember where I was when I kept getting the alerts that Texas and Oklahoma were joining the SEC. And I mean, it didn't sit right with me for months. Like, I cannot stand it. I'm as traditionalist as he gets. Like you mentioned before, I love the old rivalries. Like, I watch back a lot of like old YouTube games or like documentaries. Nebraska, Oklahoma is a phenomenal example.
Tom Osborne versus Barry Switzer was must
so
see.
So good. And then you got like Bedlam, which is gone now. It'll never be played again.
Oklahoma State.
Give my 2 cents real quick. The Notre Dame USC, that is a travesty to the game. Like, this is what college football was built on. These unique matchups,
the regular season.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's South Bend, Indiana versus Los Angeles, California, but that's what makes the sport so great. That's why there's so many fans of Notre Dame in Southern California.
Right.
It's just so great for the game. These 2 teams have played every single year since 1926, outside of 4 meetings, and one of those was in 2020 when
COVID.
Yeah. And all of this has started because USC wants to move this game to the first game of the year, I believe. Lincoln Riley wanted to move this game, and then Notre Dame's not agreeing to it, but they want to keep the series alive. So they're kind of they're like 2 girls fighting right now, and they're just sitting in a standoff.
I mean, I understand, like, when they play the game in Notre Dame, it's usually mid-October. If they play the game in Los Angeles, usually in December or late November.
Yeah.
I'm okay if they play it first or second game of the year, as long as they play it. Do I prefer the way it's been done in the last 50 to 100 years? Of course. But I'd rather it be played at an odd time than to not be played at all.
I agree with that.
I mean, I can remember times when, Tennessee, Kentucky used to be into the season right before the Vanderbilt game every year. And that game's been moved. The Georgia game's been moved around. I'm okay. I don't care when you play a game as long as you play it. Now, Tennessee, Alabama, the third Saturday in October. Obviously, I like that. But if Tennessee said, hey, we can't play this game unless we play it in September, I'm like, okay, I'll play it in September. I'd rather not, but I'd rather play it in September than to not play it at all. I'm one of these guys. And that's funny about college football. It's the only sport I know where rivalry games tend to be played at the same time each and every year.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Like, I hear you on that, but Tennessee and Florida playing in November makes my blood boil. I can't stand it. Them not playing the
It
third
used to be in
Saturday,
September, yeah.
third Saturday of September or whatnot, early in the year. Yeah, third, fourth game of the year, every single year. It playing in November just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, when it was Philip Fulmer versus Steve Spurrier, the game was always played early in September, and the team that won had a big leg up on the rest of the year, and the team that lost was like having to climb back in it, as best they could. And I still contend that hurt Peyton Manning in '97 because everyone kept that. Yeah, but he can't beat Florida. Yeah, but look what he's doing to everyone else.
Yeah.
But what's your opinion about rivalries and playing them on the same day each and every year? That's the college football, like Alabama-Auburn. That's the last game of the year. Ohio State-Michigan. That's the last game of the year. What's your thoughts about the rivalries in college football being played at the same time each year?
I prefer that they are that way. I'm a traditionalist in that sense. But, if something comes up and it's got to be changed, I think that both parties need to be upfront about the reasoning behind the change. It just needs to be out in the open. It's not one of these like, okay, well, we're wanting to change it really because it's going to benefit us for this health of this player. Whatever. If that's the case, just admit it and say, look, this is why we're wanting to do it. And then the chips they'll fall where they fall. But be open and honest about it. Just kind of pussyfooting around the whole thing. Like, no.
I hear you. Hey, guys, we're at the end of the show. I really appreciate you, Andy, and you, Camden, coming in today. I really enjoyed talking some sports with you guys, and I hope everyone out there is listening has a safe weekend. We will be back on Monday at 5 o'clock.
Call for a little extra comfort. Introducing Hardee's new home-style breakfast burritos with cheese, fluff.